What is up, guys? You're back with another YouTube video on the channel. In today's video, we'll be talking about a significant uptick in severe weather across the US over the next few weeks and the ongoing weather currently. Let's get right into this video. The first thing we are going to talk about in today's video is the enhanced risk of severe weather that we currently do have in portions of Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina that is ongoing right now, and a slight risk that extends all the way from Alabama all the way up into New Jersey. With some severe weather potential that we do have today. And there's actually a decent risk, surprisingly, for tornadoes in the mid-Atlantic today. So if you are in Washington, D.C., I would not let your guard down, as there's a probability for a few tornadoes or so. Now, this is not a insanely big tornado threat or anything like that, but there's a decent risk for tornadoes in this area, so you need to be very weather aware in the brown and kind of in the green areas, but mostly in the brown areas. Be very weather aware for isolated tornadoes possible. Now, the main part of this risk is due to our significant 30% chance of wind for that region and an isolated chance of hail, but the main threat will be wind, so definitely be weather aware across any of the yellow and orange areas for today. Now, for tomorrow's risk, we do have a day 2 slight risk of severe weather. It's a really small risk of severe weather, but if you are in these yellow areas and portions of Oklahoma, around the Oklahoma City regions, really be weather aware for tomorrow, as there's an isolated chance for maybe a tornado 2 possible. That risk is pretty low, but we do have the threat for wind and hail possible in that region. Now, this is not some huge severe weather risk, but do not let your guard down in these areas, as we could see some severe thunderstorm warnings and some strong to severe storms across the yellow and kind of in the green regions for tomorrow in this risk area. So definitely be weather aware in those regions there. Now, the main thing I do want to talk about in today's video is a significant uptick in severe weather across a lot of the central, northern, into the midwestern portion of the U.S. And this is definitely going to be shown into the start of June, as we are going to see a huge plume of moisture that is going to come in from the Gulf of America and potentially cause a big warm sector across a lot of the central into the northern U.S., which is why we already do have a day 4 slight risk of severe weather. This is for portions of Monday, June 2nd, Monday on June 2nd, with a slight risk of severe weather for portions of Nebraska, South Dakota, into Minnesota, and portions of extreme southern North Dakota, with a risk for potentially strong winds and hail and even a tornado possible with these regions. Now, we will get more information once we get closer to this risk, but we already are seeing these upper Midwest severe weather risks for portions of Nebraska, South Dakota, into Minnesota regions, and this does continue even further south on to day 5. Once we get to Tuesday, June 3rd, we do have another risk of severe weather for portions of Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, with that yellow 15% slight risk of severe weather on the scale. Once we get to the day 4s to 7, it only shows a 15 to 30% chance. So this is the second highest risk you can have for this far out. With the slight risk of severe weather, where we could have all hazards possible. Once we get closer to this, we will have more details on how significant this could potentially be, but definitely start to be weather aware in those regions, into portions of northern Texas, central Oklahoma, into portions of Kansas, and extreme southern Nebraska on Tuesday, June 3rd. Now, I definitely do think that we are going to have a big-time uptick in severe weather for this portion of the U.S. Into the beginning of June, over the next few weeks or so, that could have a significant uptick in severe weather, with tornadoes starting to become an uptick to what it is right now. Now, if we do talk about the temperature anomalies and the temperatures that we are having across the U.S. right now, we are going to see some pattern flips across the U.S. with the temperatures over the next few weeks. Right now, we are seeing a lot of below average temperatures across portions of the central into the eastern portion of the U.S., with a lot of above average temperatures currently in the western U.S. right now. But this could potentially change once we get further into June, with a significant area of cooler temperatures in the eastern U.S. is going to continue over probably, I'd say, the next few days or so. It's going to probably start to wear off there by the time we get to, I'd say, Wednesday, probably on June 4th, is when the temperatures will start to transition to a little bit warmer weather across portions of the eastern U.S. We start going to see this continued really cold air across a lot of the eastern U.S. through the start of June. basically from now through June 4th. And then a lot of warmer than average temperatures for this portion of the U.S. from now through June 4th, too. This is going to shift as we are going to see some warmer temperatures, but we could see an area of cooler below average temperatures continue for a long time in this portion of the U.S. for the start to summer. Now, these blue areas do not mean that we're going to have cold temperatures. They just mean below average. So if your average is 80 degrees and is 10 degrees below average, it'll be 70 degrees. So that blue area could literally mean you're getting 70-degree highs. It doesn't mean it's cold. It just means that it's cooler than it typically is for that time of year. But that's what we are looking at for a lot of the U.S. I do think we are going to just see a continued pattern for a long time of warmer weather for a lot of the western U.S. Over the next weeks, 1 to 2 weeks or so, over the next 1 to 2 weeks or so. This is what we're going to see with warmer weather across portions of the western U.S. and then cooler weather in the eastern and central U.S. over the next 1 to 2 weeks or so for the weather, just below average and above average temperatures. Alright, I hope everybody did enjoy this video. The weather is kind of quiet currently. It's not too quiet, obviously, due to a lot of enhanced risks of severe weather that we do have right now. But we definitely are going to see a big-time uptick in severe weather as the National Weather Service is already highlighting a bunch of risk areas for bad weather. Hope you guys do like today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe for more severe weather updates, and bye, everybody.